Hmm. We are live streaming, so let me pause off there and start here. All right, everybody, I'm just starting the live stream, so I'll record now on the in the cloud on the Zoom where I am making this recording. Here we go. All right, I am Dr. Mike at your friendly, supportive social scientist service, where I come at you talking about different concepts and ideas on how we can be a bit more aware. And that's what I want to talk about. So, as a social scientist, if you're going to study society or groups, which I have over the years, not to say I'm technically someone to really sort of parse data, I just talk about what I observe and how I perceive we can do better or be better as a species. So it comes down to the idea of enlightened, if we can be a bit more attuned, or what my teacher, Dr. David Jubb, prescribed as eye-awareness. And I just kind of thought like we could be eye-aware, which I'll explain. But how we can be a bit more just eye-aware is a new word. So you could be aware of something, as he would say, but that would be out there. And if it's projected, it's pretty much artificial because it's made up in the mind as interpretation. However, if we're present to it, we can be a bit more astute and attuned to how we are in the present moment. And that's a key distinction and a strategy that I want to talk about with you. So, how do we approach this as a social scientist or someone who might be a spiritual student or someone who just wants to be more astute and become more eye aware? Well, first, if you see behind me the alien, that's the strategy we're going to use. Well, what do you mean, Dr. Mike.org, which is my website? Oops, sorry, that way on the if you're watching it on the dial. So you have to be part of Team Alien. What we're talking about here is pretend that you are visiting another planet called Earth, but you're not from here, or you're from another dimension, whatever it would be. Come fresh into your experience. So, whether you're wearing a spacesuit or using some kind of vehicle to travel and be present to something, we're going to observe. And what are we observing? We're observing first our experience of what it is, the sensation that we're having. And this is a key distinction. And I do have a book that hasn't been published, but you could read for free right now, called The Phenom, Phenom, book.com, phenombook.com, Phenom, which to me stands for the here and now, but is a short phrase for the phenomenon that we are here. We're having an experience. We're alive. Something's happening. It's a phenomenon. And then we talk about phenomenology, which the book is basically, it's a breakdown in the teaching of, or the understanding of the structures of our experience. Wow, that could be pretty profound if you think about it. Phenomenology, it exists. It dates back to the early 1900s, part of the German philosophy landscape, you could say. So all that's there on phenombook.com. So you ought to check it out, Phenom book.com. All right. So now that we've established that we are in the here and now, how, as an alien social scientist, because obviously they would be here to study us, and you being the social scientist playing that role, have to be able to catch yourself in the experience. And this relates to what I learned from Dr. Jubb, as we called him Happy Face, because he was kind of that shaman who, given that he had studied, physiology and had a PhD in it, he also was taught by some of the greatest teachers, like Cloud, who one survivor, and other people in his circle who I met, who they recognized me because we all had the spiritual totem names in the tribal world, urban shamans. I was Grey Wolf. There's a whole other thing about that, which in a future time, to entice you to keep watching, to be a part of this experience and community, cosmic community. We have communityconversations.com, literally community conversations, to explore how we're present in the experience. The hope is that we would have an unfolding experience that allows us to have more of that perspective. Not that we are alien to this world, but phenomenology just allows us to step back to sort of engage the experience and us in the experience. As Krishnamurti, J.D. Krishnamurti, if you know about his work, said, you need to be the observer observed to be able to understand the sense of yourself. And Einstein talked about Gedenkens, which is the German word for thought experiments. And this is one that we're going to do now. Okay, so ready? Make sure you're good. Remember, we're Team Alien. Okay, this is just a fun experiment into the phenom. and how we're present to ourselves in this, okay? So this relates to an experience where I was in Sedona, Arizona with a happy face, and we walked into a health food store. It's a great story. He said, Grey Wolf. And I said, what? What? He said, you're just giving away your power. What you mean, mate? I gave away my power. What do you mean? He said, well, we walked into the store and the bright lights and all the merchandise and the signs and the imagery. You just sort of like, what happened to you? It's like, I was like, what? I was in the experience for sure because one, I love health food stores, got a long experience in that. And two, it's just really quite amazing how you can have an experience being in a place and all of a sudden, you have transcended sort of whatever's going on and you're sort of not present to anything else but the experience. And that is kind of interesting. So I asked for clarity and he goes, mate, because, he's Australian, but, grew up in Tasmania and lived with Native Americans for quite some time, and taken on their traditions. So he kind of knew a bit, given how people existed in the world before things were so commercialized, right? And sort of taken outside us, right? Where, you know, our identity is shifted to what we're told we are rather than how we experience things coming onto us. Now, that's very deep. And I do have writings about that called cringefactors.com. Yeah, it gives me the cringe when we kind of get lost in our labels. So cringe, CRINGE, factors.com, cringefactors.com. So I asked what the experience was about. He said, well, mate, if you want to really master the moment, because the only type of mastery there would be is here and now, you'd have the sensation of this. What is your sensory input? Sort of your vestibular, your gut feeling. You have to have a sense of this first. What's your feelings saying? And then, of course, your hearing, you're listening to yourself on that. And only then could you see. Otherwise, the images would be speaking to you, and who knows what that was programmed to be. Instantly, it was like, ooh. I had a syntax, a strategy, how to be present in the moment. And that has fit into my long-lasting pursuit of knowledge or esoteric knowledge, particularly to understand enlightenment. It started probably since age 9, but certainly age 13, I got serious about it. So we could say as we engage our present moment reality and want to experience these things, I've come up from that period of time with a certain strategy, that understanding that as we come to experience something that's present, how are we present? And we could begin with certainly our body language, but our posture, right? How are we grounded? How are we breathing? Are shoulders comfortable? Facial expression? Are we at ease? And can we take a moment where there would just be space or gap between our thoughts? And that's where we'll begin. What is it that I'm feeling? And you take note of it. You'd have a thought on it. And the strategy is called TWA, the flight you take every day, which I believe will help you become a bit more eye-aware. It worked for me. So we begin with how we are, checking in, posture, very important. Okay. Breathing, all that, right? Okay. Well, what is it that I'm sensing? You have a thought about it. Be aware of the thought. Otherwise, the thought's got you. And it could hold you for generations. Trust me. All right. Is that thought acceptable? Is that what you want to carry on? Because most of these thoughts I've called an RTP. RTP stands for repeated thought process. It's a pattern that repeats. You can have a thought for something, that's fine. Second would be a repeat. Third is like a habit, and you're doing it over and over again. Is that the thought you want to have? And can it be refined? And just having that sense of awareness in that moment can help you because TWA, starting with this sensation of what it is I'm thinking, you now can understand the quality of the words. What are you saying about those thoughts that you believe is reality? And how are you sharing it or parsing it out to others? It's very important in that regard. Let me just say, because I'm doing this live stream and also on Zoom, I'm not able to see comments. I see that because I see little reflections on there. Just hello to anybody that's wanting to be on the live stream. That's really great. And I'm talking about awareness. And I'm Dr. Mike.org, DRMIKE.org. And I'm your friendly social scientist talking about how to become a bit more attuned to the present moment by being what's called eyewear. And the awareness strategy is called TWA, the flight you take every day, like Trans World Airlines that out of business, but still occupies some space in our mind. We know TWA. So let's make it a strategy that becomes coherent to how we are simply ultra being present. UBE3, ultra being an excellent example of enlightenment. So first, as I learned, is that you have to have some kind of present sensation? What is your gut, intuition, your sensory apparatus? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? Now, it may not be comfortable to share it, or it's appropriate in some circumstances. If you're in a group or at the job and something you're going to say something that might upset people, you just be attuned to it. And if the situation isn't right, is it your interpretation of it because it's your thoughts, TWA, your word usage, or TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. How are you acting? What is your act? What are you actualizing? Hmm. What are you acquiring from the experience and sort of your attitude? That's a reflection of the flight you take every day, of your attitude and your altitude, TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. So it's something to reflect on, because if we're going to be in this world and team alien, we have to be able to step back from our own reactions and labeling of things and at least be able to catch ourselves in the thought. Not to say it's not valid, but now you're a bit more attuned to be a bit more resourceful. You are the master of the moment. How else would you ultra be expressed, ultra being present and loving and engaging on this level? So if we are to be social scientists, we need to be able to step back in the way that we call a CARES model. This is CARES model. I love my acronym, CARES. It's community action research on how to evolve and how to be better. And it functions, or it excites itself, on the premise of engagement and how we can be a bit more enlightened in the way that we are in everything, engaging each other. And I can't emphasize how ultra being important this is, that we evolve as a species if we wish to have a desirable, if not designer, sustainable future. We're talking about our destiny. And the inputs come from the direction we're taking. What flight? Who's your co-pilot? TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. Where is it taking you? It's a simple exercise, isn't it? You could journal it. You could just be in the moment, reflect on it, meditate, contemplate. You could start your day like that, end the day, and reflect a bit. Or just be in the moment when something's going on. What is it that I'm feeling? It's your radar, right? It's really your vestibular system, if we think about how we're going to sort of access what it is that could be intuitive or something that's just, what is your feeling? And if you're careful in the way that the CARES model works, you would be able to find a way to intuit it, and perhaps when you can appropriately share it. Otherwise, it's for you to have access to what it is that you're sensing, and then what it equates in your thinking apparatus. I also write about this in BIDEC, BIDECK. The BIDEC is really a theory of mind. It's literally called TOC. I didn't invent that, but I thought, well, what is the filtering mechanisms here? So you can check that out at BIDEC, BIDECK.masstrance.com. Masstrance.com, the hypnosis of society. And my work is to help us wake up. And rather than projecting, say, the problems out there all the time, to understand that that's the illusion, alluding, right? We need to be present to how we are in the experience if we are going to engage each other on any form of enlightenment. And I'm not any guru on this. I'm simply taking the proclaimed self discovery mode of saying, hey, let's all be team alien. Let's be a community and have a sense that we can step into, but also have some attunement to our own experiences, starting with TWA, the flight we take every day. What is it that I'm sensing? And now can relate to being aware of my thoughts. And who gave you the thought? Who's projecting that thought? Is it an RTP, repeated thought pattern? Can I get out of it? Because it's not serving humanity. And for some people looking for a breakthrough, it's all you really need. The research shows that if you just become a bit more attuned and aware of your own thinking processes and the quality of the words that you're using, because you're either affirming or conditioning the experience in such a way, they're either words of wisdom or they're words of woe. Particularly when children are present, the quality of words are very important. I'm telling you. In the beginning was what? The word. Right, TWA, thoughts, words, and what we're actualizing. Be aware of your act. Look, I'm in the mode of podcasting, taking the avatar position of social scientist, wanting to refriend people from my past who goes like, oh, you were the worst. No, now you're Dr. Mike, huh? Think you're somebody special. Yeah. So it's this experience and the appreciation that we have it, this phenombook.com. Learn about phenomenology, and so we can take apart the structures of our experience. And where I want to take it is the next book after this Wine Peach, which just getting launched. And coming together for community conversations so we could raise our consciousness. We want to be able to approach it to where we can have sort of this alien perspective and appreciate it. Because how we can see ourselves from other people's perspective is going to be our breakthrough. I am telling you. Otherwise, you got to be stuck all the time in this righteousness, right? It's almost a cult mentality. Whether you declare yourself, again, you can look at cringefactors.com, whether your lens is through class, race, income, where you intuit what your intent is, nationality, gender, ethnicity, age, religion, political things. These are all different lenses. And while they can be appreciated, we're all somewhere on the spectrum of life, all of us. So if we're going to wake up out of this mass trance, we need to be a bit more attuned in how aware I can be. So I appreciate Dr. Jubb's work. He made great strides in whole brain functioning and also people who are looking to have a life food diet. So how we come together in community and conversations and the consciousness of this endeavor is my work. And I'm hoping that people will take enough interest to initiate community conversations with their neighbors or local leaders. Communityconversations.com could be our community conduit, and a portal where we can start this. So that's what I'm thinking. It was just my note-taking website when I was in graduate school. It ought to be more purposeful since I have the domain communityconversations.com. I'm drmike.org. I hope some of these ideas inspire you to be a bit more aware, present to thyself before you project and attack out there. Look, again, I'm no guru myself. Self-mastery is still an endeavor and how I'm present to the moment. However, I appreciate you and this opportunity that we have to be together. So you can, I think it's this way, right there. Oops, right there, drmike.org if you're watching it on the Zoom. Feel free to reach out to me. In the future, there'll be some courses, community conversations is definitely the goal. For the summer, we're talking about protestpicnics.com. You can check that out, protestpicnics.com. We can come together as a community, have conversations, have a guest speaker, potluck, whatever it would be for you, and just have a gathering so that we can appreciate each other, no matter where you are in the world. We need to come together and talk about relative issues that affect us all, come back to a commonality. Community conversations is a good base for that, as well as protest picnics, and all the things that sort of, whether it's volunteering or contributing to a cause, each of us can make a difference. And the more ultra being present we are and evolve this perspective, of awareness and being aware of our TWA, thoughts, words, and actions, the better we will be as a species. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. I'm drmike.org. Look forward to catching you again. Be in touch. All right, the live stream is still going. Okay, so just to finish up on the live stream, I appreciate everybody who is tuning into this. Let me just see real quick, because otherwise I don't catch the comments here. Oh, yeah. All right, how long have I been recording? Wow, I'm up to almost 500 subscribers on this channel. That's amazing. All right, let me give me a thumbs up, and we will be off. Oh, I guess I could end the live stream from the Zoom as well. Thank you, everybody. Much love. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Do tell your friends. The more important issue here is that we do contribute to each other's well-being. Friendship, fellowship could be a great idea, as well as inviting people over to a community conversation, whether it's in your pad, coffee shop, library. Lots of opportunities to do this. All right, thank you.